My name is Dianna Snape and I'm an architectural photographer. I specialise in architecture and interiors. There's also other work such as furniture that crosses over into that realm. I'm inspired by, in a broad context, the built environment. I'm really inspired by the change of natural light, the way things work on a building, and the opportunity for me to explore and express that photographically. I'm inspired by architects and the work they do, and I love the fact that I've been able to make a career out of photographing their work. I guess my father was a photographer in the Air Force, doing aerial photography, so it was always a part of my life growing up. I knew that I wasn't inclined to be a studio or portrait-based photographer. I chose John Gollings as my mentor because it seemed he was somebody that was working in that field, predominantly in architecture, but broader than that. And I guess I would say to you that that was the critical pathway for my entire future. My first job was at TAFE College out at Broadmeadows called the Kangan TAFE College. Quite an amazing building, and it's a very long, thin, I guess I see it as a tube, and they had actually built the structure out of polymer, so it had this translucency to it. So when I turned up for the meeting, everyone was expecting John Gollings, and they got me with my really bad folio of various little bits and bobs that I'd done. And they laid the plans out for this building and started to brief me. And I remember, they just looked like Chinese to me. And then they turned to me and they were discussing intellectually the structure, and I remember being blank and feeling completely out of my depth. I went out there and I think I turned up 2 hours before dusk because I was so nervous about missing it, and did this photo shoot. And anyway, the results were fantastic. They were absolutely over the moon. It was published in Wallpaper. John said couldn't have done a better job myself, and it all worked out. But I guess the lesson for me in that was a reality check on how little I knew. You can't just turn up as an architectural photographer and take pretty pictures or you will fail. Like, that's part of the process and that's part of why they get you on board, but there's a very intellectual part to their thinking and their process. The benchmark for that was that first experience, and that was, yeah, humbling. It gets more exciting as time goes on because you start to collect an archive, and the city changes and things change and buildings change. So you actually, when you start to build up a body of work, it actually has an historical context and has, and it's interesting looking back on, and some of the stuff isn't there anymore and things have changed. So yeah, it's sorry, just give me 1 minute because that's it. That's the moment. My partner is a still life photographer and he can't stand my profession, hates the unpredictability of light, hates the lack of control. I, on the other hand, am bored senseless by the detail he'll pay to light. I do get excited if I get a good building and we turn up and the light's right and we move around it and you explore it, and that process is what the excitement is of what we do. I mean, you're at the whim of nature. I mean, there's no control here other than a technical competence in terms of, you know, and then a creative process later. But really, what you're given is what you've got. There's no, you know, when you've got a good piece of architecture and the light's right on the day and everything's coming together, I don't know, that's joyful for me.